still in Psychology 1, but now we're doing part 2 on memory. And like I mentioned, we're going to look at forgetting, in case you forgot. So let's start with forgetting. The interference theory is the first one we're going to look at. We may forget information in short-term and in long-term memory because newly learned material can interfere with the new information getting in. So there's two types of this interference. There's retroactive and proactive interference. Retroactive interference is any new learning interferes with the retrieval of old learning. For example, your new cell phone number interferes with your ability to remember the previous cell phone number you used to have. Proactive interference, this is the second type of interference. This is where older learning interferes with the capacity to retrieve more recently learned information. This is using your cell phone again. Your old cell phone number interferes with your ability to remember what your new cell phone number is. Now, there is a term that's known as motivated forgetting. So one reason we forget is that we're motivated to forget. It's repression, when we forget due to suppression or repression. When something is too emotional, trauma, disaster, we might, in order to protect ourselves, forget the event. Freud suggested that we are motivated to forget painful memories because they produce anxiety, guilt, and shame. And he would call that repression. Now, this is the heart of disorders such as dissociative amnesia, still a controversial phenomenon. Repressed memories may not be ill or broadly formed, just that we don't focus on them. Now, one other reason that we might forget is retrieval failure. You know, when you are answering a question but you can't retrieve the information that you need when you need it. This can be more of a can't find it issue. We may even experience what's known as the tip of tongue phenomenon. The tip of tongue phenomenon is the feeling of knowing an experience. Words were unfamiliar, so elaborative rehearsal did not take place. Seems to reflect incomplete learning. Our knowledge of a topic may be incomplete, and we don't know the specific answer, but we know something. Now, I just touched on amnesia just as a title, but amnesia is the loss of memory and is frequently a result of a brain injury. We still consider two brands in terms of terms, a retrograde and anterograde amnesia. So anterograde amnesia is memory lapses from the period following the trauma. Now, this memory loss has been linked to damage of the hippocampus. The retrograde amnesia, memories lapse from the period before the accident. It may be that our memories need to be need to rest undisturbed for a while before they can be transferred to long-term memory. We really don't know as a fact. Now, the biology of memory, we have a number of things we can look at here, but we're going to begin with engrams. Engrams are viewed as the electrical circuits in the brain that correspond to memory traces. So this is the biological perspective about forgetting. Neural activity and memory. Now, there is reason to believe that the storage of experience requires a number of avenues of communication along brain cells to be increased. Research conducted by sea snails, now the sea snails didn't conduct the research, researchers did, on sea snails showed that they can be conditioned. They release more of the neurotransmitter serotonin at certain synapses. As a result, the transmission at the synapse becomes more efficient as trials progress. Your brain neurons get stronger the more you rehearse. So in terms of your memory improvement, rehearsal strengthens the neural pathways. This greater efficiency is termed long-term potentiation. Serotonin increases the efficiency of conditioning. And serotonin is a good hormone. You want to have that when you're learning, because that increases the enjoyment you're having while learning. It's released when the stimuli is paired repeatedly. In addition, many other naturally occurring chemical substances, including adrenaline, noradrenaline, acetylcholine, glutamate, antidiuretics, hormone estrogen, and testosterone, have all been shown to play a role in memory. So our biology plays an important element. Brain structures and memory. We're going to look at that a bit. Hippocampus is involved in the formation of new memories. Helps relay sensory information to parts of the cortex, involved in where and when, the when of things. Parts of memory are stored in appropriate areas of the sensory cortex: sight in the visual cortex, sound in the auditory cortex, etc. The limbic system is largely responsible for integrating these pieces of information when we recall an event. The prefrontal cortex seems to act as an executive center in memory. Although our textbook does not include memory tips, I thought I'd include some here for you. So how about what or how to improve your memory? There's 4 study habits that can aid memory in our organization, overlearning, the use of spaced rather than massed practice, that is to say, cramming doesn't work, and the use of a higher percentage of time reciting than rereading material. So let's look at those individually. Organizing is important in terms of forming memories. Information is best at getting in organized in order to get out organized. So the more you organize putting information in, the more it comes out organized in terms of your memory. Consider using the semester planner that I posted in the weekly learning area and the syllabus and assignment and journal folder. It can help some order, create some order in what is due, when, and how to plan to start. Of course, your syllabus and the calendar that you created will be a great way to organize yourself. Organizing your study area can also help you out. Do you have a dedicated location to study? Is it comfortable and practical for you? In addition, it's very helpful to organize your studying or in study area. A dictionary would be very little use if the words were listed in a random order. In a similar way, you are giving your memory a task. It probably will not accept it if you try to remember large amounts of memory in a haphazard manner. Organizing material to be learned is a tremendous aid to memory. The second one, overlearning. This really just means practicing or studying the material beyond the point where you can repeat it once without error. You should be able to repeat it multiple times without error. Material that is overlearned is remembered better and longer, and it's more resistant to the interference and stress-related forgetting. This is why planning when to start the study for a test or start an assignment is so important. It affords you time to overlearn. We are more likely to remember something if we overlearn it. That is, if we practice or study beyond the minimum needed to barely learn it. All right, let's look at the third. And I'm sure many of you, and I know I did when I was in school, have tried mass practice or cramming. I find that it's not an effective way to remember information reliably. It is better to space studying out over several sessions. You can learn more with less total study time if you space your studying out over several sessions. Long periods of study opens us up for interference issues in memory, compromising consolidation. Spacing study sessions allows us to better consolidate and ordered correcting. Remembering the dictionary example, you don't want things haphazardly organized in no alphabetical order. You want things to be organized. And then the fourth, active learning, where we actually perform and act on the information, leads to better recall than simply rereading the information. Research over the years shows that you can recall more if you increase the amount of active learning in your study. For example, it's better to read a page or a few paragraphs and then practice recalling what you have just read. Even better, you should ask yourself some questions as you read, especially questions that encourage you to connect the information that you need to learn with knowledge that you already have. You're asking why questions. But questions have proved particularly useful for learning facts from text information and text material. And then lastly, I'll just suggest, and is a little bit of a bonus. It's this is a study tip or a strategy that's not unknown. It's called mnemonics. And mnemonics, I'm going to add at the end, just when I say see you later, a short little video, a few minutes, that I made back in 2013, I think it was. It was a homework assignment that I had to do for a video class, and we were doing something on learning. Anyway, don't worry about the stuff that I'm saying in it. It's not related to you. It's just part of the video that I made. But pay attention to the mnemonics and associations. The other material related to that was made just as a video editing homework. So I hope this chapter's been helpful for you, and keep up the good work. And remember, bye.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the collaboration part of looking at memory, how to put stuff in your head and keep it and use it for later. What we're going to do is do a little task, and I'm going to ask you to do a couple of things. I want you to make up a mnemonic, an acronym one, or a sentence one, or both. And I'm going to show you a quick little example in a minute. And then do one as well using the stuff we discussed in class, looking at associations. Now I have put a link into a YouTube video, and it's a link method of doing associations. And it's actually a very interesting sort of approach to memory method. And it's very effective. And I'll show you a quick little association method as well. So let's quickly look at what the acronyms can look like and what a sentence can look like. And we're going to look as an example with an acronym looking at the Great Lakes, Lake Ontario, Lake Erie, Lake Michigan, Lake Superior, and Lake Huron. You can use the acronym HOMES, H for Huron, O for Ontario, M for Michigan, E for Erie, S for Superior. Now that's an acronym. Now if you're going to put it into a sentence, you'd use Henry organized Mom's evening shoes. Now you may come up with a different example that you would use, and there's many of them. There's not one right one. It's just whatever works for you that holds in your memory. Now the next one I want to do is I want to show you basically how to do an association one. Okay, let's say you want to show somebody where Owen Sound is and you don't want them to forget where you live. Alright, let's look at this map and let's draw into Ontario. Let's tidy this up a little bit. Now, let's give this thing a little twist. Alrighty, are you seeing the elephant already? See the trunk, head, leg, body, and tail. Now, if you want to be able to tell somebody where Owen Sound is, you'll just have to describe on them where in this little body Owen Sound is. Now do you see Owen Sound? Ooh, look where Owen Sound is, on the elephant. Now I don't think, well, my friends have never forgotten where Owen Sound is as a result. Okay, not all associations have to be done this way, but the idea is to link it to something that somebody can make an association with such that it will remain in their consciousness and in fact in their memory for a very long time. Alrighty then, I am done. Have a nice day, and we'll get together and we'll start our next element on looking at language and nonverbal and spoken language, and we'll look at that next. All right, don't forget, put everything up on the blog, and I'll be up there checking it later, and we'll get some comments for everybody. Enjoy your day. Bye now.